Did I have the RX bar thing on my mouth the whole time? Hi there. Welcome in to a sunny car video in front of the library. Another weird sun situation, but I've got my, because it's the sun just came out. I'm here in front of the library. I have two books that I want to quickly talk about before I return them. And I just parked in front of the coolest car. I have never heard of this car brand. It's called Fisker, and the type of car is Ocean. It's beautiful. I took a picture. I'll insert it. It's beautiful. I have to look this up. How often do you come across a new car maker brand? It's crazy. Okay. So before I get to the two books I'm going to return, I did bring these with me just to talk about them. I finished Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton and The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnim. And again, I'm sorry about the weird sun thing. Both of these continued to be fantastic. They continued to be so much more than I expected. I don't know what I expected from The Age of Innocence, but I did not know what was going to happen in any part of the book. I did not know, because as I had said, Newland Archer is marrying a woman named May Welland, just a lovely young woman. But then this Ellen Olenska, a cousin, comes to town, and she is not like anybody else in this high society of New York. She's been married to a count, and now she's getting a divorce. I loved the way that this is a very nuanced tale. It's not straightforward. It's not Trollope. Not that Trollope's straightforward, but it's grittier. And then this is true, too, of The Enchanted April. 4 women who don't know each other going on a holiday in the south of Italy, the Italian Riviera. Never been away before. This Elizabeth von Arnim has chosen to make this a grittier tale, not straightforward. There's some things that get thrown into the storyline that keep you guessing the whole time, and it really reveals, despite the social mores of the time, if I'm using that word correctly, keeps you guessing. Just keeps you guessing. I loved them. Okay, Kudos, the third book of the trilogy, the Rachel Cusk trilogy, was my least favorite. I can't even tell you that I enjoyed the reading experience. Was part of that me? Maybe I read this too soon. But I looked back at those 2 other books. I've been chatting about them with some friends, BookTube friends, and Bookstagrammer friends. And I'd love to know your thought on this third book. It didn't do anything for me. I could have cared less that I read it. I'm shocked. I mean, I really liked both Outline and Transit. I could have done without this one. I can't even really remember anything about it. Unremarkable for me. I would love to know your thoughts on this third one. Then the 2 books that I'm returning. I have finally made my way through My Work by Olga Ravn. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. She is a Danish novelist and has edited a selection of Tove Ditlevsen's books. That really grabbed me because I have read Tove Ditlevsen's Copenhagen trilogy and loved it, as difficult as it is. This is also a difficult book. I am left struggling how to talk about it. Please look for reflections from other people that have read this book, because I have seen some on Bookstagram, some of the lovely people that I follow, and they're doing a much better job encapsulating this than I am. It's multimedia. It's not media, but it's poem, it's journal, and it's letters, and it circles around a woman, I think she's in her early 30s, named Anna, who is having a baby with her partner Axel. I'm just going to read a little bit of this on the back to give you a foundation. In this radical, funny, and mercilessly honest novel about motherhood, Anna is utterly lost after giving birth. She and her family move to the unfamiliar snowy city of Stockholm. Anxiety threatens to completely engulf the new mother, who obsessively devours online news and buys clothes she can't afford, and to avoid sinking deeper into her depression. I think that is part of this book. It's really not a large part of it, the shopping part and the online part. I feel like what's more a part of this book is her journey in the first couple years of having her baby. It starts with her having the baby, and her unhappiness, her worry about and anxiety about not being happy, and as a matter of fact, being depressed, what is probably postpartum depression. She's going to therapy. She's a writer. She's trying to understand how she can write and how she can be a young mother. She's tired. She's got grants to write, but then she's struggling with that because when she's not with her young baby and toddler, she's thinking about the baby and toddler. I can relate to that. I can definitely relate to that as a professional working mother, working a 8-to-5 job and having a toddler in daycare. This is tough to read. She's clearly in a depression, and that's really hard to read. I liked the stark writing, just writing honestly. What I don't understand is this conceit where there's another person who we're led to believe has her journals and her letters and her writings, and they're putting it together for a book. Is that true, or is it just Anna? I don't get that, but I didn't let that stop me. I didn't care whether I got it or not. Kate Zambrino is blurbed on the back. I didn't think this was funny. It says radical, funny, and mercilessly honest. I do think it's unflinchingly honest reflection. I really appreciated at the end, this comes in the last few pages really, about, there's a section where she says, I understand that this is not every mother's experience. And there are a lot of mothers who had a perfectly wonderful experience, birthing experience, infant experience, and there was happiness in it. I want my happiness too. I'm searching for my happiness, and I'm sorry that it wasn't in those experiences, but I also don't want to take that away from you. I loved that because it was acknowledging that we all have a different experience with birthing, with infants, just like anything else in the world. Everyone's going to have their own personal experience, and it's not a reflection on any one of us what kind of experience we have. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I don't know. Felt it compelling, but I had to read it in chunks, and that's why it took me so long. But I enjoyed the starkness. I absolutely love the cover. I love this baby head that's not exactly noticeable. Then I went on way too long about that. This little guy, My Death by Lisa Tuttle. I would say Lisa Tuttle could be like a new author for me, but I think she's mostly sci-fi, so I don't know that she would be. But this is a a new edition by NYRB. And I think this was on the list of NYRB books that Joie de Vivre, that's her handle on Instagram, came up with. This was like one of the last books on the 2023 NYRB list of female authors. Uncanny novella. There is a widow, a recent widow, who is the main character. Not only has she lost her husband, but her muse seems to have deserted her altogether. Her agent summons her to Edinburgh to discuss her next book. She becomes interested in a woman named Helen Ralston, best known, if at all, as the subject of a painting. She goes and visits Helen Ralston, who is elderly and has to live with her daughter or niece. Then it gets weird. It gets weird, and I think this is... Did I have the RX bar thing on my mouth the whole time? Probably. Oh my God. I didn't understand this. What did I read? What did I just read? But I really enjoyed the writing. I can't tell you much about this. It's so tiny. I think you should just try reading it and try to understand it yourself. It's meta? Does the protagonist morph into... I don't understand. I don't need to. I loved the writing. That's My Death by Lisa Tuttle. This is a book that I think was written in the... No, I'm sorry. It was written in 2004. There you go. All right. I'm headed in. There's one book on hold for me, and then there's just a bunch of other things I'm going to be looking for. So I guess I'll talk about that book when I come out. I'll see you later. Okay, I picked up my one hold at the library, and it's this new release, which I don't know what to expect from, but it's called The Book of Ayn, for Ayn Rand, by Lexi Freeman. Lexi Freeman is an Australian author, Australian writer and editor, graduated from Columbia University's MFA program. She's won a couple awards. Her first novel, Inappropriation, was longlisted for the Center for Fiction First Novel. I was interested in this book because it says, after writing a satirical novel that the New York Times called classicist, Anna is shunned by the literary establishment and, in her hurt, radicalized by the philosophy of Ayn Rand. Determined to follow Rand's theory of rational selfishness, Anna abandons her friends and family from the boundless horizons of Los Angeles, hoping to make a TV show about her muse. I don't know. I'm going to dip in, see how it goes. I have a few other things, but when I'm picking off the shelf, when I'm picking from my list of books that I've taken photos of, as I've looked them up on the library, it's such a grouping of things that don't make any sense and that I have no idea whether I'm going to get to or not. So I'll update you on anything that I get myself into. As far as best of the year reads, I'm thinking about it. I'm looking at my reading. Of course, I could read a really good book in the next week and a half. I don't know. I'm starting to look. I'm starting to narrow down, get together a list. It's been so fun to do that. It's been so fun. Oh, I forgot. I want to say one thing before I go. I finished War and Peace today. Hi there. I wanted to come outside in this wintry setting. It's 25 degrees this morning. I wanted to commemorate the fact that I finished my year-long reading, a chapter a day of War and Peace. It's like 351 chapters in all, if you don't count the 12-chapter part 2 epilogue of Tolstoy pontificating. I have loved his pontificating. at the beginning of every part, but it's 12 chapters, so it's apparently optional. It's so funny because the last chapter of this book, I didn't know it was the last chapter. I was just reading it. It's a beautiful Christmas, right before Christmas scene between Pierre and Natasha. And the way Tolstoy is writing about a couple's conversations, everyday conversations, and how it's a very special thing and how it's a special language. I was so captured by that. And here I was reading the last couple paragraphs of War and Peace and didn't even know it. I'll have more to say on this later, but I will just say, because there's no way I'm certainly not going to review this book. Plenty of people have done that and have done it well. I will just say that I am not somebody who reads historical fiction. I wasn't even someone before this year that felt like I read or liked authors that were writing in the 1800s, the mid 1800s. I read Trollope for the first time this year, and then I started reading this on January 1st. And the difference between Tolstoy and maybe other authors that I've noticed, I'm thinking of Dickens, is he is so modern. He is so relevant and modern today. His writing, I don't know how he does it. I mean, I realize these books for us are in translation, but his writing is about humanity, and it's so much about humanity. I'm just blown away and fascinated, and this has definitely been the best reading experience that I've had in my 59 years. And that's all I can say about it. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon.